Concept of HACCP. HACCP has 7 steps. The book goes over the 7 steps that HACCP has. And essentially, HACCP is the central tool that you're going to use to ensure that your food in your facility is safe. And it's the process of active managerial control. You are actively controlling the processes in your facility to make sure that they're safe. Principles of HACCP are in chapter 10-4. I would encourage you to do the best you can to memorize. 10-4, there's 7 principles.
Yeah,
But let me give you the principles in an easier way to understand. Principle number 1 is conduct a hazard analysis. Another way to say that is formally look for where your problems can be. Now, what are we talking about here?
What do you mean?
What are we looking for?
How food can get contaminated.
How food can become unsafe. You're exactly right. I don't want to say contaminated, because that's not the only thing that can happen to it.
Right.
It can become unsafe, right? Remember, we're talking about product that comes in the door until the product goes to your customer's foot. That's the span of time. Or when it comes in your door to the time it goes to your customer. Okay? We're talking about anything that can happen in that process that would cause the food to become unsafe. How would the food become unsafe? Let's go back to the 5 principles we know. What are they?
5 from reputable
Cross-contamination,
suppliers.
Let's stop right there. Stop right there. 5 from a reputable supplier. So where in the flow process is it going to become unsafe at that point? Purchasing. So in purchasing, the hazard is that we don't buy from a safe vendor. Okay?
Huh?
The only hazard we have in that
Oh, if
purchase,
we don't, if.
that you don't buy, if you don't buy from a reputable vendor. Okay? Now what's the next possible critical step? Assuming that we're buying from a safe vendor.
Check to make sure temperature.
Receiving. So the product comes in the door, what are we concerned about?
We're concerned about if it stayed in the correct temperature on its way or at the facility that it was and on its way.
So, what happens if the product comes in the door and it's been frozen, the temperature's not right, it doesn't look safe?
Send it back.
Send it back.
No, you set it at the door and call the vendor, or if the guy is still there, you tell him you're not taking this out.
Okay. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe you just reject it right at the point.
Right.
Right.
You say to the driver, I don't want that. Put it back on your truck and take it where you got it. Okay, it can be as simple as that. It can be everything you said, but probably if you've got a chance to reject it at the point of delivery, that's possible.
You have to check.
Well, of course you have to check, but you've got your standard. You're checking for the safety of your product, right? You got that?
Yeah.
Past that point, you've received it. Okay? Now what?
Now you have to store it properly.
Don't give me a lot of detail, just tell me the key facts.
You have
What
to
you
store
can-
it properly.
Store it.
We've got to store it properly. Then what's next?
You have to prepare it properly.
You might have to thaw it properly.
That's correct.
Then we have to prepare it properly. In the preparation, what are we concerned with?
Cross-contamination.
Cross-contamination.
What else? What else?
Security.
Time, temperature, abuse, what else? What else?
Cooking it properly.
Cooking it properly, what
Holding
else?
it at the
Maintaining the
correct
heat.
Holding it
temperature.
after it's cooked at the right temperature,
And storing again, correct?
maybe. Doing something with it, right? Depends on what you do. When you finish cooking it to the
Cooling it
proper
down.
temperature, or if you don't cool it down, you hold it at the right temperature, what are you gonna do then?
Reheat it.
No, you're gonna serve it.
Serve it.
You're gonna serve it. Keep it simple now. Don't get yourself caught up in what you're gonna do, all right? What I'm trying to do is paint a picture here of what's happening. We know where we're buying food from. The food comes in, we wanna check to make sure it's safe. The next thing we wanna do is store it so it's kept safe. The next thing we wanna do is prepare it properly. The next thing we're gonna do is check to make sure that it's been prepared properly and it's held safe. Then we're gonna happily serve that food,
Yeah.
okay?
Happily.
That's the chain of events. Okay, so what's happening?
Passive is making sure that all of those points
Chains
go
of events
correctly and
are-
they're documented.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
You're almost right. If you look at the chain of 7, let me read them to you. Conduct a hazard analysis. Okay, we're not gonna get hung up on those words. That's like figuring out where the food could be unsafe, right? Number 2, determine the critical control points. What the heck is that? What do you think it means? Critical control points.
Temperature.
What did you say? You're looking at my overhead already, see? So you're already figuring out. We've got 2 things here. We've got, I'm gonna say we've got 2 things. The book says you got 1 thing, critical control point. I'm saying you have a control point. Food comes off the truck. You check the temp, everything's okay. What is that?
That's
Is
the
that a
control.
CCP or a CP?
CP.
It's a CP. It's a critical point. That's it. Critical, you pass it, good. Okay? Now you put it into storage. CCP or CP?
CCP.
What?
Because you control the temperature and where it
No,
goes.
you don't.
Because
No,
it
you
could be
don't.
frozen. and
It
you
goes
might have to
frozen,
stop.
it goes cooler, it goes dry. What's the environment?
Warm.
Well, the freezer's either working or it's not. The cooler's either working or it's not. And the storeroom is either clean and safe or it's not. Is it like that before the food comes in, or is it like that after the food got there, or is it like that at some point in time?
Before it comes.
Before it occurs.
But those are physical environments, not CCPs.
I missed something. Yeah. What's
I
this?
missed something right there.
You go to the grocery
CP.
store.
CCP.
You go to the grocery store, you come home.
Uh-huh.
Is the food safe that you bought?
Um,
You just bought it at Kroger's.
no,
Yes,
it
it's
could,
supposed to be.
Oh, exactly. Kroger's is a reputable vendor. You bought packaging that was safe. You looked at it, it was okay. The date was all right. Everything is cool.
oh, I was thinking about the temperature, okay.
You put it in your trunk of your car and you transport it home.
And you put it away.
Is it safe?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're okay with that?
Yes.
Critical control point?
Yes.
Yes. What's critical about it? The package is safe, the product is, you looked at it, it has the right dates,
And it came from a reputable
Yes.
vendor.
came from a reputable vendor, right? The temperature was okay, you put it in the trunk, took you 15 minutes to get home, everything's cool.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Critical points, but you're okay with that. Now, on the way home, you get 2 flat tires. It's July,
Oh,
it's middle of, it's 95
Milk
degrees, the
out.
food is in the trunk of your car, potential hazards?
yes.
Yeah, but you're gonna evaluate this, you're gonna say, okay, look, you know what, normally I don't get 2 flat tires in July and I went home to the grocery store. But I got this little issue going on here, I gotta be very careful how long it takes me to change the tires and get this food safe. And so what am I gonna do when I get home?
Take it straight to the refrigerator.
I'm gonna think about this. How long was the tire flat? 2 hours.
Be out before.
So my food was temperature abused for 2 hours. Can I recover the temp?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So we're not at a throw-out point yet. We know we have issues. Okay? Now, we're gonna put this in the refrigerator. Oh my God, the refrigerator broke. Is that something that normally happens?
No.
No. Is that a CCP? No, it's not.
It's not a
The
crucial.
refrigerator's broke. What are you gonna do? You're gonna mitigate the circumstance. You're gonna take the food out of the refrigerator, you're gonna put it into another refrigerator, you're gonna take it next door, you're gonna put it in a cooler with some ice, you're gonna call the repair guy.
Okay.
All right, if this were a restaurant, you'd have an SOP on checking the temp of your refrigerator and your freezer twice a day, maybe 3 times a day. You'd have a chart on the door and record the temp because you want to prove that you did that, right? We're not gonna do all this at home, but in a restaurant, we do this. You know what I'm saying?
Just
Yeah.
freaking
You know what I'm
out
saying?
there.
You see the picture I'm painting here?
Right.
Is you have to know where these hazards could happen and have a procedure in place for if they happen.
What is CP?
Critical point,
Critical point, okay.
CP, critical point,
So what's CCP?
critical control point.
So does that mean
Okay.
we control it?
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly what it means.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Now,
you.
let me continue my little picture.
Okay.
We had some chicken in the car that we bought at Kroger's. We had 2 flat tires, we were down for an hour and a half in July, we got this back, but everything's okay. We put it in the refrigerator broke the next day. We took it out, we took it to the neighbor, everything's still okay, because we know, and we controlled this process. So we had CPs all along, but we controlled it. Now it comes time to cook the chicken. Put it in the oven. What are we cooking?
2 hours.
350 degrees for 2 hours, right? Baked
Yeah.
chicken.
Has to reach,
I'm ready to take the chicken out of the oven. What am I gonna do?
165
Check
for 15
temperature.
minutes, you're gonna test it.
Check the temperature of that chicken, and what am I looking for?
165.
165 for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
In the deepest part.
What is that?
A CCP?
Why?
Yeah.
Why is it a
Because you're
CCP?
in control.
Because we control it.
The chicken bread, it was limited to the management and determination.
We control it. And so therefore, what are we going to do? We're going to check the temp, and then we're going to say, sell. It's only 160, put it back in the oven. Right?
yes.
It's a logical thing. It's a critical control point. Why is it critical? Because if we don't put it back in the oven, and we serve it to the family, they all get sick and we truck off to the hospital with salmonella poisoning. Or something. Probably not botulism, probably salmonellosis. Okay? You see the point?
Yeah.
Now, where's the next CCP in the process? What are we gonna do with this chicken? We took it out of the oven, it's 165, we're good.
The cool down?
Not yet.
Oh.
What do we have 2 choices. Serve the chicken to the family, cool it down.
You can cool it down, it can be cooled down for 2 hours.
Yes, if we serve it, do we have a critical control point?
No.
No, because they're gonna eat it.
Right.
Everything's good. They're all happy, they eat the chicken, we have some left over. Now we've got a cool down process. Now we're gonna do what?
You can cook as long as it's within the 2 hours.
2 hours to what temperature? 70 degrees within 2 hours. I feel it's CCP. What are we gonna do about that? Look at the time, check the temp, record it. Boom. And if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't get to 70 degrees in the 2 hours, what are we going to do?
Reheat it.
Put it back in the oven for 165 for 15 seconds. You know what we just did? Let me just take the 2 steps.
Okay.
We just conducted a hazard analysis. We just did that in our talk. We determined the critical control points. We just did that. We established the critical limits, 165 for 15 seconds.
We monitored the,
70 at 2 hours for the cool down, next 4 hours to 41. Those were our limits, critical limits.
estimating, monitoring.
Establish monitoring procedure. Okay, in our little process, who can tell me the monitoring procedure?
Taking the temperature was one.
Exactly. Don't make more than this than it is. We said we're going to take the temps, and we're gonna record those temps.